have Adey Boom here with me today. He's going to talk all about manifestation and neuroscience. What is the one thing that would shock the audience about manifestation or neuroscience?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think the one thing that will shock people, because when people hear the word manifestation, they think woo woo. They think, oh, there's some spiritual stuff, magic here. No. I think the one thing that will shock them is that it's scientific, it's practical, and it's literal, and it works. And if you want to change your life, you have to implement it, and it's real. So that's what I would say.
I love that. There's a lot of people that might disagree with that and think, one, this is a load of nonsense because it's just not real. And two, I've tried and tried and tried, but it hasn't worked for me. Mm-hmm. What would you say to people like that? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people like that listening.
Also, okay, look at it this way. Science, right? Gravity. The world we live in exists on laws. And you don't necessarily question those laws, do you? You look at those laws and you just say, they exist. Fine, you might question to a certain extent. You might go back to, okay, where do these things originate from? But even scientists, you get to the point where you're going to say, it just is. It's the exact same thing with manifestation when you understand from a scientific point of view how it happens. And to people who are skeptical, I literally say, okay, think of something. Think of anything you want to create, right? Let's say, for instance, people come back and say, I want to be healthy. I want to have a six-pack. I've got an 8-pack, but okay, right, let me show up there a bit. I want to have a six-pack, but let's say I don't. There's fat covering it. It's like, okay, you now start thinking of the gym. You start thinking of being healthy. The next step from thinking, you're going to start doing what? You're going to start researching on YouTube. You're going to look for a gym on Google. You're going to then look for workouts. Now you're thinking. From the thinking, you're taking action. From taking action and being inspired, what's the next thing you're going to do? You're going to find the gym and go to the gym. And then you're going to stick with it. And 3 months later, 5 months later, depending on your dedication and commitment, 1 year later, you come out with a six-pack. That's the exact same way manifestation works.
That sounds like, to me, your actions follow your thoughts in a sense.
Exactly.
But where does God or the universe, because you hear a lot of that jargon, especially online, where does that come into it? Because you're basically saying your thoughts will lead to this action, that action, which will lead to a result, which is fair. Mm-hmm. But then anyone can say, okay, but that's just neither here or there. Like, where does the universe or God come into it, if that makes sense, to do something even grander, if someone wanted that? Mm-hmm.
When you say grander, you're talking about creating or manifesting or bringing about, let's say, a company, a business.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, I like this aspect. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you a bit more about my story, as I think that will really link in, right? And that will explain how grand and the godness and the woo and the spirituality and the universe and all of that. So, pause. In my 20s, right, I was going through financial difficulty at one point. I had graduated with a master's in mechanical engineering. I had been studying. I had tried different jobs, right? I tried the financial route. I tried the project management route. Eventually, I ended up in London in my mid-20s working as a management consultant with Capgemini Invent. And while I was there, I've always had this dream of becoming an entrepreneur or at least making a good amount of money. So here I am in my mid-20s, right, at this point. And I joined Capgemini Invent, and this guy walks up to me, we strike a relationship, we're friends, and he's telling me about 3 people similar to me who joined the company. One had gone the contracting route and made over 100 grand. The other had stayed in the company and been promoted. The other, his career was being flatlined. So I thought to myself, which one of these 3 people do I want to be? Clearly, I thought, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to go contracting. I want to make a good amount of money. And I want to save that money and use it for that. So he tells me this the very next day. What do? I start crafting my CV and I'm like, I'm out of here. And then in my contract at that point, which I was with through Capgemini with HMRC, I looked for all the contractors and spoke to them. Do you think I can do this? And they said yes. And then I crafted my CV and I put it out. For 9 months, crickets. Not one single interview. I was trying everything physically. I rewrote the CV. I put it out there, put it on all the job boards. Nothing happened. Now, I'd grown up Christian. So you pray, you do this, you do that. Nothing happened. Fast forward about 9 months later, I'm sick, I'm recovering, I'm in bed, and I'm in massive debt. All the money I'd made up at this point in my life, I'd put it into crypto, right? I'd even borrowed several thousands from the banks and all of that and put it in. And there were days where I would wake up, you just see about 7, 10, 9 grand lost in a crypto trade. So I was like, shit, right? And at one point, it got so bad, I woke up at night and I'm going, Lord have mercy, next month, all the debts and loans are going to start to come. I'm still recovering. How am I going to live? How am I going to survive? What's going to happen? This literally eats and encroaches into all of my salary. I was still pretty much on a grad scheme in this consulting firm. So I remember this voice, not an audible voice, I just felt it and I thought it was an angel, said to me, when you think you have nothing, you have all things. And if you look at all my social media platforms and scroll down, it's the first video there. Well, I'm just looking at the camera away and I'm saying, when you think you have nothing, you have all things. So that gives me confidence. I'm like, okay. Few or so days later, I'm on my phone and I look and I see I'm in bed. I see this guy talking online about reprogramming your subconscious mind, thinking things, and then as you drift off into sleep, into the theta frequency, these frequencies go out into the universe, and then you start to manifest and attract. And I'm like, okay. So what I decided to do, I was like, okay, let me try this because I've got nothing else to lose. I'm in debt. I'm recovering from sickness. I'm in bed. What do? I've tried. I still have a job, by the way, but the loans and debt, they're just too much. So I look at them like, okay, fine. I don't know what I'm doing fully. I go off into sleep, 15, 10 minutes, so I drift off into sleep. All I'm thinking about, 100 grand, 100 grand, 100 grand. I saw it in like a gray background with like chalk white, 100K. That's all I thought about. And I did that for a couple of days and drifted off into sleep. I wake up, well, obviously waking up each day. 10 days later.
10 days?
10 days later,
Okay.
a random recruiter reaches out to me.
Wow.
Oh, Adey, there's this contracting opportunity. They found my job somewhere in my CV in some job board. I'm like, okay, I've seen this where you get emails and then it doesn't come to fruition. Pish posh. 30 days after that, I have one interview. This contract was with Barclays Bank, the client. One interview, the lady's there, the guy's there, and they're talking to me online, digitally. And I'm just yapping away, talking for 1 hour. That was on a Friday. They had interviewed other people. I'm 27 at this point. Friday, I go to sleep, wake up Saturday, wake up Sunday, wake up Monday. They reach back out, email, phone call, congratulations, nearly a $200,000 contract.
Wow.
And I'm there like,
that is so cool. That's more double.
Way more than double. I was on way less. I was probably on like at this point 30 something. I just came out from 30 something, maybe early 40s and £1,000. So in pounds, it was like 137 grand, right? And I'm like, what just happened? I'm still young. I still don't necessarily have loads of experience. Now I'm earning more money than even the directors who were at my previous company or leading stuff. And I'm thinking, or managers, I'm thinking, what just happened? Get into the universe point. Days later, you're obviously going through background checks. You're waiting for contracts to come in. I do the same thing. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to worry, because usually you start to panic. I'm just going to visualize myself in the job. Just doing the stuff, the analyst work, the technical work, the contracting work, the consulting work, typing keyboards. And then I have a dream. In the dream, I see emails. 3 emails, 2 highlighted in yellow, 1 not highlighted. A day or 2 later, 2 emails come. I'm like, what? I'm like, where's the third? The next day or so, the third comes. I'm like, good. The first 2, which were highlighted in yellow in the dream, in real life, they were the important ones about your contract, your pay, and all of that. The last one was just something flimsy about timesheet bookings. It doesn't stop there. I'm now in the job, the contract. I'm doing the same thing. I'm programming a week in advance. Okay, I just started this job. I need them to praise me. This person, they praise me on Microsoft Teams in a meeting. 1 week later, the guy on the Teams with the team randomly just starts praising me. Yeah, let's praise Adey about this. I'm trying to imitate a Manchester accent, right? And he uses 60% of the words I had used in my imagination.
That's crazy.
I'm like, what? That contract goes on for 2 years. Most days I work 30 minutes to zero, and I'm being paid several hundreds every single day. A year and a half into the contract, I'm there with the guy who interviewed me. He's working next to me. And he goes, you know, Adey, it was strange. Because before we would ask a question, you would answer it before we got to it. And this led me through a series of events where I would start speaking, and literally 30 days later, I would see the thing happen. I started teaching people, and then literally they started to dream and program themselves, and then in their reality, they started to notice things shift, opportunities come, money, events. Now, where God in the universe comes is this. If I were to ask you right now, do you know what you're going to think in the next 30 seconds?
No.
You don't. But when the thoughts come, you can then choose. You might be thinking of a random gorilla mixed with some giraffe genetics and drinking some Lucozade boost whilst flying to the moon. Crazy ass shit. You don't know what you're going to be thinking in the next 30 seconds. Thoughts arise from somewhere. Let's call it the ether. And something that we know from science, that everything from a scientific quantum perspective is energy, right? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form to another. I'm using my mechanical engineering degree here, right? We also know that energy is, has always been. God is, has always been. The universe is, has always been, at least to the best of our knowledge. Even if they want to say the Big Bang, energy moving from one form to another, you cannot create it, you cannot destroy it. Just like God, you cannot create God, you cannot destroy God, but God constantly creates, evolves, grows, expands. Now, your thoughts are coming from somewhere. They come into your mind, you think of that thing long enough, and then guess what? The next thing you think of McDonald's. Now you find yourself 2 hours later in a McDonald's shop, eating a McDonald's burger. You chose that thought, you harnessed it, and then the thought is manifest from the invisible into the visible in your life. Right? Same thing with manifestation. Your thoughts, the energy, the frequency comes from somewhere into your mind, your imagination. You hold it long enough, that thing manifests in life. You hold it long enough, it comes. And lastly, before I pass to you, the physical physics aspect. We know something known as resonance frequency. If you start to, that's why if you have a glass and you do, oh, like an opera singer, the glass starts to vibrate. That's why when someone drives by with their speakers blaring, your walls, the windows start to vibrate. Because the frequency of that sound matches the frequency of the objects in your environment. Same thing with us, a manifestation. Everything is energy. The objects vibrate, and that energy is expressed, or the vibration is expressed in the form of a frequency. So when you start thinking 100 grand, that frequency broadcasts into the ether, into the entire world, and it starts to vibrate with the exact things that match that 100 grand. It started to vibrate with the Barclays contract. It started to vibrate with the recruiter. All these things start to align, shape, shift, and you then are an energetic match. And then 10 days later, 1 day later, 30 days later, you go for the interview and boom, you manifest that. That is where God, the universe, the ether all come into play.
That's amazing. That is a tremendous story. Obviously, it's real life, and that's why it's so incredible. But I'm going to be a skeptic here and still say, I understand that with smaller things like manifesting, like, I don't know, like the McDonald's example that you gave. Mm-hmm. But what is the difference between you, who has manifested something large, compared to someone who is struggling to do that? So, for example, is it because they've got blocks? Is it because they're not consistent? Is it because their frequency, they're just not consistent with the frequency? What is it that determines whether you actually get there? Because I know yours was, it took a while, and then it was just one after the other. Mm-hmm. But for someone who is still struggling in that sense, what is it that's wrong?
Okay. I'll say this. There are a number of analogies and things I can give. Let's go back straight to the Bible, what Jesus said, and I'm just using Jesus as the base, universal. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to he who believes. There are many passages in the Bible where even Jesus, being in the form of God, could not save or heal certain people because he's like, your unbelief. And he would still say to them, the ones he could heal or save, go your way, your faith had made you whole. The difference I've found, because now I've got a coaching consultancy business, I coach people all around the world. People especially, they love me in America.
Oh, I
Right?
love
People in
that.
South Africa, they love me. They're literally, I'm booked till 2027, till next year, 1-on-1. And literally, people are still coming offering to pay me several thousand just to work with me. I'm talking about actors, doctors, lawyers, different people.
That's amazing.
Now, this is the difference I'm finding with people who can manifest versus people who can't. Those who can manifest, they almost treat it like it's a simple joke, like it's a game. They don't put too much effort into it. They don't like, I want to manifest this. And if you look at my manifestations, I wasn't putting in effort. I just, let me try this thing. Let me believe. Try it, leave it, and then randomly something pops up. The ones who are going, I want to manifest this, I want to manifest this, I want to manifest this, it doesn't work for them. The reason is, in order to manifest, you have to be in that state of fulfillment, of being full. If I told you right now, if you tell me you're hungry right now, right? And I say, fine, I get you some food and I give you the food. Once you eat it, are you going to want more food?
No, probably not.
You're going to be full and you will literally be satiated and you'll just relax. That's the exact same thing I tell people when I'm working with them. Go to that state. The state or the feeling of, I'm already full. I already have the job. I already have the partner. I already have the business. I'm already in that state. And in that state of being full, you don't walk the streets looking at every single meal going, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. You just walk calmly because you now are in that state. Same thing with manifestation. If you think of it, you visualize it, and then after it's dropped into you, you drop it, you're no longer thinking of it. You're just like, yeah, it's done. I have that business. I'm with that partner. I have the body. I have the life. If you are in that state in real life, you'll start to act like that person subconsciously.
I
want to land this
go
part.
ahead.
You will start to behave like that person and you will have it. Now, if you do the opposite and you're constantly trying to go, I need to manifest this, I need to manifest this, I need to manifest this, it means what you're declaring in time and space, and there is no future, no past, only now, you're declaring, I am not it. So you will constantly manifest in your reality, not being it. You will constantly walk about life looking at every single corner shop going, I want to eat, I want to eat, I want to eat. You will constantly meet the girl or the guy going, will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? They'll smell your desperation. You constantly go to the job interviews, please hire me, please hire me. They'll be like, ew. And then the world will reflect back to you exactly the state of your internal. Not have it, your wish is my command. There you go.
Desperation definitely pushes away the manifestation and the result.
100%.
Definitely. I was going to say, because you hear a lot once again online about, obviously what you said is living in the end, essentially. It's
Neville
a Neville
Goddard.
Goddard.
Yeah.
Neville Goddard, who was a mystic, I believe in the early 1900s. And he spoke a lot about living in the end, living in the wish fulfilled. And then he says, act as if as well, if I'm correct. I think where there's like a mismatch is that people feel like act and pretend and then you'll get it. But I think what you're saying is that be it and then subconsciously you'll start to act it.
100%.
But I feel like because we're humans and we a lot of us are programmed with our logical mind, we just don't see how that will work or like what are the steps to live in the end? What are the steps to sort of say, I've already got it. Does that make sense? Or is it just a relaxed nature? Or do you have to put it on? It's a bit,
Again,
I'm trying to think logically here.
No, again in the Bible, now I'll explain. Again in the Bible, Jesus says what? If you do not believe me for who I am, look at the works I've done. So what I tell people, two things. One, start with small things. And two, educate yourself from a scientific as well as a religious, as well as a quantum, as well as a world social perspective. What do I mean by start small? If you know that you can get the McDonald's, you can go to the gym, you can do things which you're going to take action. Start with those little things. Maybe you want to manifest 1 million, maybe start with 10 grand. Then when you get the 10 grand, observe the series of events. Okay, you were thinking 10 grand, and then the next day, you had this thought, why don't you go on Indeed and start looking for jobs around this range? Then 3 days later, your friend came and they were like, oh, this place is hiring. And then boom, 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 boom. 1 month later, you got the job. You saved because you were thinking of 10 grand, right? It's a process. 6 months later, you had 10 grand in your bank account, or 1 year later. Then do the exact same thing. Observe the chain, because most people don't observe. Watch the chain, then apply that to the bigger thing. Now apply to the 100 grand, to the company you want to start. And then you're going to find yourself, you wake up one morning, you have inspiration, a thought shower to literally go to this place. You go there, you meet this guy who becomes your business partner. And then 1 year later, the business. So baby steps. That's one. The second thing, apart from taking baby steps, you've got to reinforce and re-educate yourself. Again, in the Bible, by beholding, you become changed. So you now start to observe life and go, how does life work? A very simple way from a scientific place in nature. This plant, the weight of this plant, right? Before this plant was planted, although it's a fake plant, the soil, let's say the soil weighed 10 kgs. By the time this old big plant from a seed germinates and grows 2 years later, 3 years later, if you were to remove the plant and weigh the soil still comes up to about 90 something, to about 95 or 96, 97% of the mass. So only a very tiny amount goes to the plant. So where did this whole big plant, which now might be 20 kg, come from? It came from the ether, right? Through photosynthesis, right? Through the energy transfer. On a quantum level, the plant starts to attract what? Carbon from gas exchange that you breathe out. It starts to take that, photosynthesis occurs, and then boom, the water comes when you pour water, and then it forms. From the nothing, the something occurs. And then you then start to take that same thing and look at everything in life. Everything that was created once didn't exist. Someone had to think of this chair. Someone had to think of this. So you then start to reinforce that, hang on, everything that is man-made came from thoughts and then originated. And everything that is nature-made came from the quantum. And then you start to study quantum physics, quantum science, and you start to see that everything, this entire thing, an atom, when you go deeper from molecules to atoms, is 99.999% empty space. And the remaining thing, which is not empty space, is basically just energy. And when you go deeper, quantum physics says, the last thing we know is that all of these things come from like a sea of quantum fields, which is simply combining. And then when they combine, you get the quarks, you get the gluons, those combine. Then from there, you get the electrons, the protons, the neutrons, those combine. You're then going to get the atoms. The atoms combine in different ways. Now you're going to get the molecules. Molecules combine. Now you're going to get carbon, water, DNA, protein. Those combine, you get you get me, you get the chair, you get the mic. Everything comes from the same thing, which is nothing. And then when you are able to then start with a little, you're able to look at the world and science around you. You then have the perfect platform to believe in manifestation and creation. And through your acts, you then use baby steps and then you grow to become manifesting big things.
I love that. So the knowledge behind it will strengthen your faith, will strengthen your belief.
100%.
Is what I got from that. That's amazing. So this sounds great. This sounds amazing. And I'm personally a firm believer because I've manifested things in my life. Like,
ooh, tell me.
Before I tell you, I just wanted to say, because I'm acting like the devil's advocate here, and I just want to know, like, how long does this take? Because that's a big question right there.
Instantaneous. Let me explain. When you go to a restaurant and you place your order, from the moment you place your order, it is done. The only thing, the way reality works, there's no past, no future, by the way, there's only just present. The way reality works for us to experience things, that's where time comes. And time is relative based on motion between two or more objects, right? Now, when you place your order, it is done. You just have to wait for the waiter to create it. Some things you create, you order, you might order some big lasagna. Good restaurant, the chef has got to make it, not the waiter to create it, the chef to take it down, the waiter to take the order, and then the chef to bring it out, to make it create it. The chef has got to make the lasagna. You order, I don't know, some spring rolls, some fries. Oh, quick, easy. If it's a situation where the lasagna was already there, then it might come faster. If it's a situation where you need to have your entrees, you need to have the starter and all of that, then it comes later. But from the moment you have done it, place your order, it is coming. You don't run there going, how long is it taking? Oh, are you guys making it? Is it coming? There is a time and order to things. So that's what I tell people. Now, if you now come to me and say you want to manifest Elon Musk level company, right?
Yeah.
You say you want to do that. Who knows? You might do it in a year. You might do it in 10 years. It also depends on the level of energy you're able to invest into it And that's also encoded because remember, everything comes from the nothing. There are greater timelines and things greater than us. I don't know, it might take you 5 years. It might take you 2 years. Let's actually go back. My manifestation that took me 10 days to occur, for 9 months before that, don't forget I had been trying. 9 months before that, I had uploaded. So one could actually go back and say, maybe I had been manifesting this shit 9 months prior. And it's only when I energetically focused, everything came. And for that, people are like, what do you mean energetic focus? I say very simple. A light bulb, the sun, diverse rays, dispersed rays. It doesn't cook anything. You take that same thing and focus it through a magnifying glass. Now you've got a concentrated laser. The laser will cut through iron, cut through steel. So if you get to the point where you energetically can focus your energies and your mind on something, what would have taken someone 10 years might end up taking you 1 year. Might end up taking you 2 days. Might end up taking you 1 day. But if you forget the timeline and just go that based on the fact that from the moment you think of it, it is done, the time is irrelevant.
So focus is very important, and it can make things happen a bit quicker. I'm getting from 100%,
you. 100%, yes.
Focus.
Yes.
How long do you have to focus for? Because I know a lot of people speak also on detachment as well. So there's focus, there's living in the end. But when you're living in the end, like as if it's already done, are you still focusing on it, thinking about it, or if you let it go and you're just living your life day to day?
So when you are living in the end, you've left it. You only focus for as long as you need to allow a drop. What's the thing? Let him cook now, let him cook. You only focus to allow a drop. What I say to people, and what Neville Goddard said basically is, you think of it, you visualize it, especially when going off into sleep, long enough for it to drop that you feel, you can wake up and feel it is done. Once you feel and you know in your heart that it is done, you leave it. Some people, it might take them focusing for 10 days. Some people, it might take them focusing for 1 second. And it's done. Instantaneous faith. Where people are thinking of the same thing over and over and over and over again, and it's not working, for them I go, it's not working for you. And the reason it's not working for you is because you are not allowing it. You are trying to consciously bring this, and that means you actually don't believe. And then the manifestation starts to work against you. Because now you're going, it doesn't, I'm in the state of it not working, not happening. And then you get that. So that's what I literally tell people. I'm like, long enough that you need it to drop. But if you keep on hacking. Another thing, you might want to manifest 1 million. But your soul knows that you only need 100 grand. And you know by the time you hit 100 grand, all desire for 1 million will drop. So you don't really want 1 million. What simply happens is through societal conditioning, your actual beliefs and your actual desire has been hijacked to think that you want 1 million. What you really want is 100 grand. So your desire, you will not be able to manifest 1 million because you don't desire it. So you won't turn energy into it. It's like 2 men are pursuing a lady to court her and marry her. One is, what's that thing? Rich guy, 6-figure, that's my type. 8-figure. He's that 6'5", blonde, whatever, with the money. And then you've got another guy, the ladies are going to go crazy in this one. You've got another guy who's maybe 5'7", can't hold a steady job. But when you're around him and you look at this guy, you're just like, damn, my heart, body just turns on for this guy. He makes me laugh. I want to be with him. There's just we get on. I laugh at his jokes. He's into the same thing I'm into. This other guy, some boring financier from Wall Street or bank in London. Now, what I will say is this. For the 5'7" guy, your energy will turn up because you desire the person. And you'll be able to see through with them. This other person, you'll want to just stop everything. Same thing with your desires and manifestations. You have to first be careful and make sure that what you're actually trying to manifest, you really want it. If you want it, your energy, your soul, they're all aligned to that thing. And now when you think of it, you will really desire it. And then it will drop and then you'll manifest it. So if things are not working for you, reassess your beliefs.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I never thought of it like that. The same way in physicality, going for a man who is society's level of like being a bachelor compared to someone who isn't that particular way, but you go for that rather than the bachelor is the same way in your manifestation, as you might think you want 1 million or 10 million, but in reality your heart will be content with 100, because what you're seeking initially is the feeling that it gives you. Can I say that? The feeling of maybe it's freedom, maybe it's peace, maybe it's no worries at all. You know, so that's what you're seeking. And that amount, maybe 100K, 10K, will just be enough for you and you'll be happy with.
My video over the last 2 weeks when it's gone viral, it's done 2 point something million views on Instagram. And I tell people, over the last 4.5 years, I've manifested over $535,000. The video says how you'll manifest your first million. I get some commenters and people going, but you didn't manifest 1 million, but you manifested $535,000 through a job, through this. And I'm like, first of all, where your manifestation will come from, it is going to come from. In my case, it came from a lucrative IT contract, tech-based in London, working 30 minutes or sometimes zero. In my case, it's come different times, money coming in, and I'm happy. And with that money, I didn't desire 1 million. That's what I desired. In my business now, I've had over the last 4 or 5 weeks, almost $30,000 from clients who've signed. They're like, yep, that's what I want to pay you to work with us. One single day, an American lady came $10,000 in one day. My manifestations are now just compounding and getting more and more. But still, I'm like, do I desire 1 million? This is what I desire. I'm happy. It works for me. I'm interviewing a lady next week, who in America, she wrote down, and 8 years later, she wrote down about winning the Euro Millions or something, lottery. 8 years later, thereabouts, I still need to clarify a story with her. She's got a document on Instagram. I've got it. She literally won the lottery and got $1 million. Check. Wow. Cash. So what am I trying to say? It might come through the lottery. It might come through an IT contract. It might come through a business. It might come through a job. It might come through someone passing away and the money come to you. Hey, don't kill anyone now. Right? So your desire has got to be there. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. And I think it's important just to reiterate that the how is none of our business in a sense. It's not up to us. So the way that the higher power, the higher source, or the universe will have it come to you is completely up to the universe, up to God, up to, the higher power. So, and I know that's a bit annoying because, like I said, we're quite logical beings and we want to know exactly how things are going to happen, or else it's not factual, it's not truth. But a lot of the times you just have to let go and just not worry about how it's going to come to you.
Your mind through your thoughts create nothing. Do you know that?
I don't even know what you mean by that.
Okay. Your mind does nothing, but it's a cutting tool. Your thinking process. It's a cutting tool. Can you imagine a color that you've never seen?
No.
All the mind does, it takes what it's seen already in life, it dissects it, looks at how it works, and it combines it to make other things. That's its creative process. The mind cannot sit here through your thoughts and go, yes, I'm going to create an iPhone. It's going to look like this, and it's going to be like in 10,000 years. It doesn't. It just looks, and then the problem comes, is like, how am I going to do this? It doesn't know. And if you look at everyone from Steve Jobs all the way down to Einstein, Tesla, Nikola Tesla, even all creation, your creator, creating podcasts and events and things, it comes through inspiration. Most of the time you're in the shower, boom, something hits you. You're sleeping, waking up, boom, something hits you. You were never, ever consciously thinking of that idea. It always hit you. And then you took it. You were like, oh my gosh, I could actually hire a venue in London and do this. And then you started to assemble the things which you already know, or the things which came to you, start to assemble it. The same thing with the how. And the simplest way I can explain it for anyone is this. Do you know what you're going to be thinking of in 30 seconds?
No.
In 10 seconds?
No.
In 5 seconds?
No.
In 1 second? You don't.
Don't know.
And the way you create is you know what you want, the life you want, the job you want, the kind of thing you want from that feeling, and you let the ether bring it and hit you. And when it hits you, your mind then goes, I can start to cut. Forget about the how. And if you focus on the how, you change your vibration again to, I don't have it. Versus when you focus on, I'm in it, then your vibration goes, I'm in it. Oh, I'm in the interview, I'm in this job. How would a person who's already in this job behave? Man, I was sitting here in this meeting and I would just chat. And that's what I did for my interviews. How would this person walk? Right now, my social media is exploding, growing, building. There's certain clothes I don't wear no more. Certain songs I don't listen to because my consciousness, vibration, frequency is just increasing. So I'm now walking like that person, talking like that person. Guess what? I
You
am
are that
him.
person. Yeah, that's amazing. So there's also a lot of talk about techniques, right?
Ooh.
Affirmations. I can go on and on. Scripting, 369 methods. There's all
Mm-hmm.
sorts of techniques in terms of how to make your manifestation come into reality.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, I have used. You could call it a technique. I feel like that sounds a bit like. Anyway,
Go on.
I did scripting, so I wrote down exactly what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So it did work for me. I don't know your stance on it, but I
Mm-hmm.
wrote down exactly what I wanted in a partner. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I've told my partner this numerous times anyway, but literally from race, how he treats me, height, everything, just literally to the T. And then I sort of read it every morning, every night, because I know that your mind is more susceptible to information when it's late at night, when you're relaxed, basically,
Exactly.
in the theta state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I read it day and night for like 7 days a week or something. No rule, but that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sort of visualized. I combined it with visualization, just visualize how it will like be like if you're when I am in a relationship and everything. And then I sort of let go, and I literally like the paper. I've lost it now. Like I sort of just went along with my life. Nothing really happened, but I wasn't holding on to how all this. I literally forgot about it.
Exactly.
I literally forgot about it. And then I remember one morning I just thought, obviously I was on dating apps as well. I have to be honest. So I was sort of like taking action.
Yes.
Because you are living in the physical plane. Let's be
Yes.
honest. Like you can't just think they're gonna knock on your door and say, look, would you marry me? So I was on dating apps, but then I just got really frustrated with dating apps.
They can, by the way, if it's your plumber and then something goes up and the plumber comes. And I don't mean plumber in a rude way, by the way.
Yeah.
And then they come fix it and then you're like, this plumber's actually quite. Hello, plumber. Hello. And he's like, hello. Area.
True, that's true. So it can. Like I'm not, there's all different types of ways things can happen in this world, honestly. So for me, I remember I woke up, I was doing things like, when you say act as if and like living in the end, I would like buy myself flowers. I would like wake up in the morning, I'll put my makeup on because that makes me feel good. I would just like walk like it, like I would just like as if I'm already in that relationship. And then the funniest thing, and I think I want to touch upon this as well. When I was on the dating apps, I sort of like got so fed up that I said to myself, you know what? I've had enough of this.
Exactly.
And the moment, I swear to you, the moment I said I'm done with this, something like it's like kind of like you, it's like something just tells you like, oh, just try it again. Let's give it one more go. I got a ping, a message, and it was him. And from then we started talking. I wrote on my script, I want to meet him by Christmas 2023. Guess what? He messaged me on Christmas Eve, Boxing Day. He weren't playing around. He wanted to meet me. Boxing Day, I met him. So it's like
Christmas,
it's
yeah,
crazy.
exactly,
It's like the same timeline.
Yes.
But
yes.
I want you to sort of like kind of like decode that for people that are listening, because like it's funny how the moment I was done, it happened. So what's that about?
So techniques, you did two of the biggest techniques which I would even recommend. Number one, you wrote it down. What's writing down? Don't type it on the phone. When you write something down physically, you're actively creating. You take thoughts, energy, words from the ether, frequency, and then through your mind physicality, you take action and you write it into something that's visible in the world that can actually be seen. The indentations on the paper, you can feel them with your palm, with your finger. You've made it physical. So you've literally manifested it already. That's why writing down is extremely important. Steve Bartlett, by the way, did the exact same thing.
Oh, really?
In his 20s,
with his show?
I think before even the show, he wrote like 5 things, even down to I think his first car is a Range Rover, the money he's going to make. He's spoken or written this. He wrote down things he wanted and he manifested it years later, right? So it works. When you write down, now you've written down, it's already tangible. It's in the physical world. That's one. 2, every single time you look at it and see it now, and you repeat it to yourself, something known as your reticular activating system is part of your nervous system in the base of your spine or neck or somewhere in your body. Can be in your foot for all I care, right? It activates the filtering system to say, this is what we want, this is what we don't want. Because your brain handles so much that it needs to prioritize. So if I told you red shirt, and you start walking down the street, you're going to start to identify all the red shirts. Same thing with people who just buy a brand new car. Everyone has got my color of car. No, darling, it always existed. You just now are filtering out that in your reality. So that's exactly what you see. When you start to write down the thing and you look at it daily and repeat it to yourself, your reticular activating system starts to scan for that. So every single man who comes into your life who is not that just goes into the background like gray. Only the men who are of that caliber and who match that start to pop out, and you start to actually move to. You still had to go out on a date with that guy. There were other guys who messaged you, wanted to take you out on dates. You said no. There are other people in the world who you said no, right? You still have to go on a date with him. But this one now, your reticular activating system is like, yes. Same thing with all manifestations. When you write it down and you repeatedly look at it, you start to filter out the jobs, the people, the money, the cities, because you start to live and take your actions based on anything that's on all things that are in line with that. That's that line, right? So your nervous system primes you to take action now. That's the physical, neurological part explained. Now on the other side, let's decode it. You also did the first thing, which I would recommend to people. You imagined it and you slept off to it. Because when you read it morning and night, you slept off to it and you woke up to it. When you do that, your brain goes from beta. Beta is our conscious reasoning when you're doing active work and active tasks. Beta frequencies operate within 30 hertz to about 13 hertz, right? The frequency where you're actively conscious, super work focused. Then your brain slows down when you're going to sleep or when you're just waking up. It goes to that range, slows down from beta to alpha. Alpha is between 13 hertz and 8 hertz. Light relaxation, you're still alert, but you're at peace. Then it goes down to the theta zone between 3 hertz and 8 hertz. This is where you're now asleep, but you're in active rest, and your brain, your subconscious mind opens up. And then below that, then goes to delta, 0.5 hertz to 3 hertz. But when you did that and you drifted off into sleep, what happens is that your subconscious mind opens around the theta state. And when your subconscious mind opens, it's no longer being ruled by your conscious mind, which is rejecting things that you want to take in. And we know that as a human being, 95% of your mind is your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind handles about 40 bits of information per second. Your subconscious handles about 40 million bits per second, infinitely more. So when you went off into sleep, it dropped. The man is this race. The man does this. Rich guy, 6 figure, that's my type, right? Big guy, 4 beer, that's my type, right? It drops into your subconscious mind. And guess what? In this state now, when you wake up in your reality, you're like, this is me. So you buy yourself flowers. I can buy myself flowers. What did Hannah Montana say?
Flowers. It's Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus, yeah. Yo, Hannah, sorry.
You're showing
watching
your
this?
age.
Sorry, Hannah Montana.
I remember Hannah Montana. I used to watch that. I used to love it.
So evolution of human beings, right? Let the old go so the new. So 100%, you then start to be that person, but also your vibration, your frequency changes. But also in the quantum realm, this word gets woo-woo because everything is frequent energy. Energy, things vibrate, and the vibrations expressed as frequency. When you go off into your subconscious state, it drops into your mind through the hypnagogic state, and in that subconscious state, in that ether, because we can't decode the mind, in that nothingness where everything comes in from the nothing to the mind, you now start to relate back through your subconscious to that nothingness. And guess what? You started to vibrate with that man wherever he was. Hinge or Tinder or Bumble, whatever, starts to vibrate. And that is how you will then hear the message that says, give it one more go. And then when you do it, you consciously are in an interrelationship with the communication with the universe. And then you go, buy Christmas, your Christmas gift.
I love that. Christmas gift. That's exactly what it was. Oh, that's amazing.
Like how you're going all girly when you think of your Christmas gift with your man.
I think that's so amazing. Thank you so much for dissecting that and like decoding it and helping us all understand how it, kind of like how it works and the steps and everything. Mm-hmm. So saying that, what is your stance on techniques and what is the best technique to use if there is any?
Mm-hmm. For me, 3 things. I think 100% use techniques. Mm-hmm. Your entire life is based off technique. You've got to eat, food digest, you go to the toilet and poo. That's a technique, right? In order for your body to consciously survive, you've got to have practices, rituals, daily things. So if this entire world is based on laws, 100% use techniques to modulate and shift things. So my stance is when you know what you want, right, write it down. Write it out. Don't type it. Get a piece of paper and write it. And write it in the I am, I have. Never I want to be or I will. Different vibrations. I am, I have. Then you can go deeper and write down what it will look like to be that person, what it will feel like. Feel it. Then the second technique I then say is you've written it down, have it around you or somewhere where you can look at it and see daily if you want. Important. Second technique, which for me is number one. Drift off into sleep and visualize it. And as you wake up, visualize it. Only 5-10 minutes as you drift off into sleep, and hold it. And as you wake up, and just think of that thing, but think of it from the perspective of, what does his hug feel like? What does his perfume? Use all your senses to feel, smell him, touch him, taste him. All right?
Okay.
Feel everything. Hear him in the job. Hear yourself in the job with the keyboards clicking away. Write the emails. See the check, the payroll. All see yourself doing HMRC, tax, whatever. See everything. Now, when you do that, you are therefore, because through feelings, that's how you get sensations through your nervous system. It goes back and feeds your brain communicates to that realm. But now you're doing the opposite. You're superimposing that into the future. So guess what? You create that. And then now you get to your subconscious, you change your vibration, you change your feelings, you start to vibrate and resonate with the things in real life. And then in real life, you also activate your reticular activating system. Now in real life, you're going to take action, and then you're going to manifest that thing. So those are the two things I would say people should do. The third thing, which I would say, which blocks people can try this, but to me, this is massively powerful, is gratitude journaling.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of love and forgiveness, because that releases stock energy. That's why gratitude journaling works. When you're grateful, you appreciate good things, and then your energy, your vibration shifts from negativity, depression, lack, suffering, hate, anger, pride, animosity. Starts to go all the way up back to acceptance, tolerance, forgiveness, then love. And at that frequency, you become like the sun. You're shining bright and you start to attract.
So you're trying to tell me that people that have the feeling or the frequency of love, gratitude, enlightenment, positive people, they attract positive things.
100%. Like attracts like.
So why is it that I could even say a majority of people struggle? Is it because they're vibrating and feeling negative emotions essentially, or
100%? But also the reason why they're vibrating and feeling negative emotions is simply because they're unconscious. Majority of people don't know. Even in the religions in the church, if we touch there, you're just taught constantly, oh, God, 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 Jesus, 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 Jesus. Yes, pray, Father Lord, Father Lord. Beg,
basically.
ask. And even that's, again, is you're stating and affirming constantly you don't have it. Versus when you look at Jesus, go your way, you're healed.
Yeah.
When the lepers came to him, go and show yourself. That was an act of saying that you're already in that state. When the guy who had a daughter, someone was sick, came to him, said what? Go, the servant is healed. And when he turned to go back at that very moment, when he arrived and asked the servant said it was at this time. When the other guy, the guard or army, said, no, don't come to my house, just say the word and it is done. If that, you have to see it already. But when many people are unconscious, like majority of people in the world, and they don't know their true power, they don't know their true divinity and connection with God, they don't know the I amness that's in them. And this is not blasphemy. You're small g, God is big G. You're both connected. Just like how a father or mother will have a daughter or son, and the daughter or son is one with them, equal rights, equal everything, but they're just small and little and they've got to grow. Same thing. When you know yourself in the world, then people will no longer suffer. I'm not suffering because even in pain, you can see beauty. I was in the hospital 2 weeks ago. Yeah? Food poisoning. In that hospital, I started meditating, praying. I felt good. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a video. Put out my phone, took a video of me in the hospital, posted it on social media. That, being in the hospital alone, a week later made me 3,000 pounds.
Wow.
Because someone watched it and went, damn, I love how you show the lows. You're a real person. I'm signing up to you. I want you to be my coach and mentor. The shit is the manure that you need and fertilizer in the farm to grow your trees. And this is how, when you realize, you start to create. But the reason why many people suffer and are in low vibrations is because they're being distracted by the world. Because if I distract you, I can take your power. Because you never realize. And the moment I take your power, I can control you. I can tell you, work for me, do this, do that. You're dependent on me. But the moment you awaken to who you truly are, you do not give away your power. You can look at me and tell me F off, piss off, and you can manifest and create exactly what you want. You wouldn't take shit or take nonsense. You will vibrate with authenticity, which is linked to self-esteem and high confidence. Your self-esteem and self-confidence will rise. You'll be angry where you need to be angry, just like Jesus, and you'll whip out all the nonsense in your life. The people who are leeching off you, your friends, family, and people taking your money or using you for your attention and your youth, they're going to stop. The reserve dries, and then now they're encouraged to become their own person. But in return, you become fulfilled, you grow, and you start to create, and you understand the divinity within you, and you get respected, and you get loved. And this is exactly the thing. So it is not to the advantage of certain individuals for everyone on earth to wake up to this. Because the moment everyone on earth wakes up to this, everyone becomes powerful by themselves, and I can no longer control you. Boom.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. It's unfortunate, but it makes sense. But I'm hoping that this podcast will actually serve as something that can help people to be a bit more enlightened and to realize the power that they have within.
It will.
That's amazing.
It will.
So I'm trying to think of another question. I feel like we've been rolling. That made my mind go a bit like, oh yeah, it's so true. But so tell me a bit maybe about you then, just so, because obviously we've spoken a lot about manifestation, about neuroscience and how it works, and I hope that everyone can take something away from this. But I don't know, just tell me a little bit about you in terms of, I don't know, I've lost the thought now.
I'm human, despite manifestation.
Yeah.
All my life, I was born with this. I always knew I was summoned from the time I was born. Right. I always said this thing that I always envisioned myself that at 70-year-old man, then I'll arrive. I've always been like an old soul, old man in a young boy's body.
Yeah.
But I always just wanted to had this burning desire to inspire and help people. So for years, even my late teens, 20s, when I'll meet people, one of the first things I'll ask is, what's your passion? What's your passion? And I always found that people were limited because of money, or they were money. So I took it upon myself to learn and study and understand money and business and life, hence the manifestation and all of that. And now it is my coaching and consulting company's aim to educate people about themselves through money. And this is what I teach people. But apart from the business, apart from that, really and truly, I've always just been someone who, from kid, loved and was drawn towards God. I've always been someone who prayed for years for wisdom to God, and God gave me that wisdom. Favorite book in the world is Proverbs, right? And I've always just been someone who wants to give and really help. Don't get me wrong, I do like nice things, especially the older I get, but my priority on earth is really just to impact people. And when I impact people, when I'm sharing, when I'm teaching, when I'm inspiring, I'm alive. I can be doing this shit at 3 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning on no food. So that's me. Grew up in the church, was even a youth leader in a church in central London at one point. Got a master's in mechanical engineering. Love going to the gym. I've lost a ton of weight now because I've been focusing on other things, business, but I used to be bigger with all that. I have my insecurities, I do suffer from hair loss. I've got hair fibers in my hair to make it better and appear better. I
would never have even noticed that at all.
I grew up all my life sick and reacting to foods, especially milk. So if I eat the wrong food, I get telogen effluvium, my hair will start falling. I can't eat spinach and vegetables and certain green things, even with all of manifestation, But one might say, why don't you change that? I actually don't want to manifest eating vegetables. I manifest in hair and other things. And maybe that's the hair fibers. Sometimes I get sick. Sometimes I do get angry. I'm human just like everyone else.
So I wanted to say as well, like, obviously being, as they say, high vibe, or like more enlightened and in tune to love and gratitude and all the positive frequencies, it doesn't necessarily mean, because obviously there's the law of polarity as well, it doesn't necessarily mean that life will be all consistently great, if that makes sense. No. There are dips in life. 100%. So it's not like saying, everything is perfect at all times, but you just ride the wave in a more positive way, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
100%. And what people fail to understand is this. You are God experiencing life in the flesh. And that God came down, and God is both the light and the dark. You will experience the dark. Who said the dark is negative? You look at every single movie right now, Odysseus is reigning and trending on in cinemas. It is the dark. It is when you are disparaged, when you are condemned, when you are thrown into jail, when you are beaten, when you are laughed at, when you're scorned, when you're mocked. That is the hero's journey. That's what makes the entrepreneur say, yeah, I made it finally, the entrepreneurial grind. That is what we go to the movies for. Apparently, the original Superman was actually scrapped because it became boring. Viewership was declining because apparently he was just like this powerful god. Anything happens, he just turns up. So they introduced kryptonite to make him more human. The human journey in this life is all about the yin-yang, the light and the dark. So by going through the bitterness, by going through the sickness, by going through the hair loss, by going through by going through being sick and not having money and being in debt, it's all those things that now contribute to the manifestation of the journey. So what I will say is, the more you manifest, perhaps you're going to say is the more you're actually going to get involved in the shit. And don't forget, the glory of Jesus, the glory of Mother Teresa, the glory of Gandhi, the glory of Martin Luther, the glory of every single great person who we look up to in this reality, in this life, throughout history now and the future, has always been the shit they went through. So no one should come here and tell you nonsense that because you're manifesting, you should be able to manifest only the light. Manifestation is a double-edged sword, and you must be bitten. You must feed off the sword, cook off the sword, cut with it, and you must be injured and cut from it. That's the life.
I like that. I that's very eye-opening, and that is very true and wholesome as well, because I think there's a misunderstanding, but that clarifies it. So that's really good.
I'm glad.
Yeah. So, I'm just thinking what to talk about.
We've exhausted a lot, haven't we?
We've actually gone through a lot. Like everything that I was thinking.
Do they want to know more about you? Will the audience want to know more about, or maybe they know more about you, maybe your manifestation journeys, how you even got into this?
Yeah. So, well, with me, I'm just me, aren't I? Like I think for me, like it's been years. So since 2016, when I was ill, mentally ill at one point, and then in order to like get myself out of that, because I felt a lot hopeless. I did turn to like The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Pardon me. So I would listen to that audio book and watch the movie one after the other all the time, just frequently watch that movie, and it just got me thinking, because I think ever since I was a kid, I've always known.
Ever since I was a kid, I was legit. Carry on, sorry.
Who's that?
It's a song. They'll Google it.
So I've always known that there's more than just this physical plane. There's so much more. Like you can do things with your mind, spiritually. Like I've always had that inkling. Like, you know, I've always believed things that people will brush off. For example. So when I was ill, obviously, like I said, I was listening to The Secret, I was watching the movie, and it just got me into thinking, wow, I can actually transform my life, I can transform my health, I can do something, you know. And obviously I went through the ups and downs of life, but I still held on to that hope that, you know, manifestation is real and you can literally create your reality with the power of the mind. And it's worked for me, and I think it didn't work for a long time because I wasn't aligned. I wasn't living as if it's already happened. But when I scripted and I wrote down what I wanted in a partner, and I was sort of acting as if I've already had it, that was like a major manifestation for me compared to just, I don't know, like cups of coffee or something like a bit more smaller. But for me, that was a major thing. And then from then, I thought to myself, you know, I would like a job that's full-time salary, but part-time hours. And technically, that's what I have, you know, so, and that's a lot more than what I used to have. So I just know the power of the mind, like, especially when you decide and you make a decision and a commitment to that, somehow it comes to you, and especially when you're feeling gratitude. So I've got like 2 major manifestations that's happened in my life. But I'm just trying to create, not trying to, I am creating more. Obviously I've scripted, I've let it go, and I just know it's coming. And I feel like there's like a bridge of incidents, as Neville Goddard would say. And I feel like this podcast is also, and just meeting someone like you is a part of me getting to where I'm going to get to. And I have absolute faith, because I know it's funny, because when you know you've done it in the past, it's like, this is piece of cake. Like I know it's gonna happen again. Like I've got no doubt in me that I'm gonna be successful and wealthy, and I've got no doubt. And people, I am healthy and wealthy, and healthy and successful. And I know some people might think and look at this like, you're delusional and stuff, but so was Kanye West, so was Elon Musk, so was all these great entrepreneurs. So yeah, I've got absolute faith that I already am. Yeah, and I love this one quote by Neville Goddard. I believe it goes, you already are that which you want to be, and your belief that you're not it is the reason why you don't have it, or something like that. Do you know that quote? It's from The Feeling is a Secret. Yeah, it's something like that. And it's like, it just goes to show that you already are it. It's just like your belief in it is what makes it manifest, basically. But I love that quote, and I just hold it with me. So, but yeah, that's just a little bit about me. And now obviously I'm working, I'm doing this podcast and stuff. So I'm really enjoying my life. I'm in a good place at the moment.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I've met millionaires. I've coached people who've handled money. Coaching someone who's handling millions for the ultra wealthy around the world. Met people who've raised millions to start their business, young, whatever. And I can tell you this. Vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and lose his soul? The most important thing, manifesting or not, is that you're happy, you're in tune and in line with your soul, you're happily and energetically and vibrationally in a good place, and you're impacting the people you love in life. Everything else, even down to health, you can be happy in sickness, even down to money, they're all beautiful additions, bonuses.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Just knowing that the most important thing is your contentment and your happiness. And I think it's impossible to be happy without being grateful. So gratitude as well. I struggle with sometimes, but gratitude is very, very key to just living a content life, no matter how much you have or how much you don't have. But yeah. But I'm gonna wrap up this podcast, Adey, because time is of the essence. But I just want to thank you for being on this show. You're my first guest after a long time. And it's been such a really, really good conversation to have about neuroscience, about manifestation. And we've actually hopefully supported our viewers into how they can also manifest in their lives, whether that's something small, whether that's something grand, you know, completely up to them, whether it's health, relationships, or money. So yeah, I just want to thank you. Have you got anything that you want to say to the audience, or anything that you want to promote, or anything like that?
No, all I want to say is, first of all, I appreciate you and thank you. You're a very good podcast host.
Thank you.
But I think to the people watching, viewing, listening, right? All I'll say is, remember this. You don't need me. You don't need me. You don't need the pastor. You don't need the bishop. You don't need the imam. You don't need the pope. You don't need the president. You don't need the government. You don't need your mother, your father, your children. You don't need anyone. You don't even need no religious book. The only thing you need is to look within. In calmness, in silence, is the birthplace that you will find your true identity and power. Because like Jesus said, this is all from the kingdom within, right? The kingdom of heaven. And then when asked, he said what? The kingdom of heaven is within you. Boom.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. That is a very, very good key point to end on.
You're welcome.
All right, so thank you so much for watching the Aridja Kals Show with me, Aridja, and Adey, my first guest. And yeah, we'll see you again for another episode. All right, have a good time. Bye.
It's amazing.
Oh, thank
you.
That was so good.
It was really good.